13th regular board meeting to order. Not all board members are present today. Trek will be joining us a little late, and Mr. Vanderlip is excused today. He is out of the country. Can we stand for the pledge, please? Our East Middle students will lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Dr. Raby, would you like to give us your superintendent report?
Absolutely. So this report should be in front of each of the board members. Have 4 items tonight to bring to your attention. One is redistricting. I would like to take this opportunity to let the Board of Education know that I will be presenting the recent results of the Redistricting Thought Exchange, along with some background information on the process that the district has followed since redistricting discussions began since 2013. Tonight, during the discussion portion of the agenda, there were 5 key categories or themes that came out of the collective thoughts from the school community: student impact, parent input, staff morale, less opportunities, and taxpayer money. In addition, we explored key insights from students, parents, teachers, and support staff. Finally, as we move forward with this process, key areas of common ground were also identified. It is important to note that the Board of Education is still in the information gathering phase of this process. We have no plans to implement any redistricting measures for the 24-25 school year. The recommendation based on the results of the thought exchange will be that additional information and ideas need to be gathered, reviewed, and discussed before any redistricting plans are moved forward. Second topic is capital project. As the board is aware, I, along with Will Thiel, have been presenting the capital project 2023 across the district and to the various PTAs. We have completed 2 since last week and have 5 more planned. The key question that has been asked at the presentations and through our active thought exchange is, why are we doing this capital project when we don't know what we are doing yet with redistricting? The important answer is that these upgrades and developments will still need to be done either way. We will be using all of our buildings and are still in need of upgraded athletic facilities district-wide for district use, no matter where the upgrades are located. Overall, the reactions to the project have been very positive and welcomed. The final reminder, the capital project vote is scheduled for Tuesday, December 12th from 7 to 9 p.m. in the East Senior High School Gymnasium. Budget development, everyone's favorite topic. As we begin to embark on the 24-25 budget development process, I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce you to the draft budget development calendar, fund balance plan, and district budget goals. To begin with, and looking at key dates on the calendar, at the December 5th Board of Education meeting, I will be presenting on the 24-25 budget challenges. At the January 2nd Board of Education meeting, I will ask for you to adopt the district budget goals. At the January 23rd Board of Education meeting, I will review the 24-25 internal cost drivers, that's ERS, TRS, healthcare, and contractual increases, and discuss budget assumptions along with the assigned priorities. At the February 6th Board of Education meeting, I will review the 24-25 revenue drivers, and that's the revenue estimates and the tax levy limit calculation. At the March 5th Board of Education meeting, I will present the 24-25 first draft, along with the funding gap and key decision points. At the March 19th Board of Education meeting, I will present the 24-25 second draft and identify remaining funding gap and decision points. At the April 9th Board meeting, I will present the final draft and discuss any remaining issues, which will be dependent on the final state budget. At the April 16th meeting, I will recommend the final budget. On May 7th, the budget hearing will take place. And then on May 21st, the annual budget vote will take place. The 4 draft budget development goals are to provide a staffing plan supplemented by support services, supplies, and contractual appropriations focused on the instructional goals of the district. Second one is to provide facilities, transportation, and technology services that are safe, well-maintained, and conducive to the activities of the district, supported by adequate funding for maintenance and improvement, and staff to achieve results. Third, make budgetary decisions that are consistent with plans for long-term fiscal sustainability, mindful of the restrictions imposed by the tax levy cap and foundation aid formula funding, and the impact of increased regulation. And 4, effectively communicate budgetary needs and decisions to the public throughout the budget process. Finally, for tonight, and in review of the fund balance plan, it is important to note that on June 30th, 2023, fund balance totals were $33,392,933 versus $31,201,229 on June 30th, 2022. The following are key fund balance considerations. 1, consider, if applicable, transferring reserve funds from special purpose, low-use reserves to more liquid reserves as need dictates. 2, consider appropriating fund balance in the 2024-25 revenue budget to meet needs arising from the expiration of pandemic-related federal grant funding, more specifically ERS, TRS, retirement reserves, and the employee benefit accrued liability reserve. 3rd, if funds are available at year-end, maintain unassigned fund balance at the 4% maximum of subsequent year's budget that is allowed by law. And 4, if funds are available at the year-end, June 30th, 2024, above the 4% maximum unassigned fund balance, recommend transfers to the following reserves in the priority order listed. A, retirement contribution reserve, used to offset some portion of the combined $8.6 million in annual retirement contribution spending. B, employee benefit accrued liability reserve, used to pay for accrued benefits in retirement. C, workman's comp reserve. And D, capital reserves. Continue to fund the 2021 capital reserve for the future capital projects and the reserve for bus purchases. Expenditures require voter approval for these reserves. More to come on all these key budget development topics in the near future. Then finally, just an update on the superintendent search. As the Board of Education is well aware, you have an active superintendent search going on. Currently, there's an active thought exchange as the school community is weighing in on. And the question is, what are the qualifications, experiences, and personal qualities that West Seneca's next superintendent will need in order to successfully lead the district now and in the future? Currently, there are only 294 participants with only 233 thoughts. A reminder was sent out today to participate in the active thought exchange, and it will close on Wednesday, November 22nd. That's my report.
Thank you. I have a brief board president's report. I'd also like to reiterate what Dr. Raby said about our superintendent search. On November 3rd, and again this morning, the board sent a letter to our school community announcing another thought exchange for our superintendent search. That letter and link to the thought exchange is accessible on our district website. Community members will find it under district headlines or the Board of Education webpage. We encourage all community members to participate in the thought exchange. We also announced the dates, times, and location of our upcoming community input sessions, which are going to be held on November 28th and 29th. Your feedback is welcome and instrumental in helping the board understand the priorities of the community. Please participate and encourage others to do so as well. I'd also like to thank our students and staff for all the lovely Veterans Day celebrations that we witnessed throughout the district. We are so very proud of you and the respect you show to our veterans. That's it for me, so we'll move on to the student representatives report, and welcome our students from West Middle today for that. You may come up. Yep. Sure.
Hi, my name is Alex Grantel. I am an 8th grader at West Seneca West Middle School. I am also student council president. West Middle has been busy collecting food for the West Seneca Food Pantry. West had 3 turf nights for every grade level, which was encouraged with 2 canned goods for admission. The Capstone Club also had a food drive, which provided over 1,000 items. Overall, we have collected 1,500 pounds of food.
Hi, my name is Matthew Mahaliks. I am in 8th grade, and I am currently the vice president of our school, West Middle. This fall, we had the 6th grade Halloween dance on October 27th. Admission was $5, and we sold pizza for $1. We even had a live DJ. Many kids showed up, and we had plenty of help from teachers and 7th grade students, including the president and I. We had a photo booth so you can remember this date in years to come. we had the best costume contest where kids won candy or a t-shirt. And lastly, kids had an opportunity to design a pumpkin and put it in the contest. The pumpkin with the most votes won a t-shirt. Everyone was up on their feet dancing and singing. It was a blast. This upcoming Friday, we will be hosting our 7th grade fall dance. Admission will be $5 and there will be pizza for $1. And we will also have a live DJ. Also, on February 9th, we will be having our 8th grade dance. We aren't sure of the theme, but we know it will be a blast.
Good evening. My name is Julia Buczynski, and I'm in 8th grade. I am currently the secretary at West Middle. Last week, we hosted a turf night at West Senior for grades 6th, 7th, and 8th, a different day for each grade level. It lasted about 2 hours. We charged an admission of 2 cans per person. During the event, students participated in the 100-meter dash, kickball, and other activities such as football, soccer, and volleyball. I personally enjoyed this event and hope we plan more things like this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Oh, one more. Sorry.
Hi, I am Nicholas Subject, an 8th grader at West Seneca West Middle, and the treasurer of West Seneca Middle School Student Council. This past week, West Middle has done a lot for our military veterans. We've placed over 300 American flags in our bus loop, and our students collected more than 150 pounds of candy to be shipped to our troops. This honored our veterans and taught our students the importance of giving back to those who served our country. Thank you for your time, and have a nice evening.
Thank you. They're adorable. Thank you so much, West Middle students. All right, I guess I'm going to turn it back over to
Thank you.
Dr. Avey.
As everyone is aware, tonight we are celebrating school board recognition. The New York State School Boards Association, otherwise known as NYSBA, sponsors School Board Recognition Week to recognize school board members for their commitment to the New York State's public school children. With that, I would like to publicly thank our West Seneca Board of Education members. We are grateful to our esteemed school board members for their crucial role in the lives of our children. They are a robust group of educators, parents, and overall champions of education. This is a particularly crucial year that challenges this board of elected officials to make decisions that will impact the district in positive ways for years to come. Our dedicated board is tasked with choosing a permanent superintendent, solving equity issues through redistricting, and shepherding our capital improvements project. The work is constant and ongoing, and our board is tuned into community concerns while optimizing the district's resources for the betterment of students and staff. Needless to say, theirs is not an easy job. President Elizabeth Gates, Vice President Molly Dana, Ed Bedian, track fall leader Sarah Pierwarski, Laura Sokol-Scott, Vincent Vanderlip. I know I speak for the entire district when I say thank you for all you do and your careful consideration that keeps the benefit to our children top of the mind as we nurture their full potential. I would like to thank the East Senior music teachers and students for the musical entertainment, the BOCE's baking and pastry department teachers and students for providing the desserts, the gifts from the elementary schools, high schools, Level Up Nutrition, and the school board appreciation video made by West Senior students. Thank you again.
Thank
All of
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
living with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the kids and students and admin involved in that video. That was very sweet and touching. Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. So we are moving on to 3A on the agenda tonight, and that is a district data update. Mr. Dalbo, would you like to come up? Oh, and Mrs. Persico. Thank you.
Check 1, 2. How do you follow that video with district data updates? I'll do my best. So we put together a compilation of some of the requested data for the board, and I know it's a very long report, and so we don't plan on sitting on each slide, but we will talk about what each set of data means, what it represents, and then give you some time, of course, to digest it and see if you have any questions at the end. I know the report is also available in the back, so I'll stick around too after the meeting if anyone wants to ask me questions about the information in the crowd. So just an overview of what's in the report. We have the latest performance levels, a snapshot of what came in from last spring from our 3 through 8 math and ELA assessments. We have some historical data for graduation rates and AP results. We do anticipate in December more data to become publicly available from the actual 22-23 school year. What happens is they give us an opportunity to do some finalized reporting this fall, and then typically in December or later they will release more public data. And so this is a good starting point to talk about some of the historical data, and then we'll have more information to share. And then also, I know Carm is going to present some information on progress monitoring data that we use ongoing through iReady and MAP. And then one of the requests too, just a snapshot at the very end, shows some trends in enrollment data for students with disabilities. Just a quick blurb on why data is important. We do use it in many different ways throughout the district. 4 ways that we have mentioned here just as examples are not the only 4 ways that we use information. We do use it to help us with to support our AIS plan to help students. Some of the information, the summative data from the state is used along with many other pieces that are gathered to help kids just find success as they grow. We also use this data with our staff on district data days, for example, where we get a chance to come together, collaborate, talk about instructional planning around some of the data that has come in and where we're heading to try to steer the ship. Also, it's helpful for parents and guardians to have some insights on the progress of their student. So we do want to get that information out to them in the fall. I know we sent home 3 through 8 math and ELA reports so that parents could have that look too. And then one example, lastly, is as we purchase new software, we want to purchase software that helps to also adjust to what students need. And that really will be a big piece of what Ms. Persico will share about with iReady and with the MAP data that we use. Okay, so we do have some data fresh from last spring. We have the 3 through 8 math and ELA assessment data. We will have more information again in December where you can compare to larger, like the state, the region. That's when we get a look at that. But we do have standalone data from the results from last spring for West Seneca. One item to note, these are the first tests that actually measured the next-gen learning standards. So it's kind of a reset of the new standards. And so I wanted to say that because I will show some data that shows some progress from years before. But I wanted to note that you need to use caution when you compare that data because this current data is from the new, it's kind of in the assessment timeline, it's measuring the new next-gen standards. And last spring was the last time we were fully computer-based. And so this is the first set of data you see that we're taking completely on the computer here in West Seneca. And one thing to note as you look through the slides, is I know people are probably jumping ahead and that's okay because we handed it out early. Any grade 8 math that you see does not include students who took Algebra 1. Okay, so if you're wondering why some of the sample size might be a little lower too, it's because they take the regents in lieu of that data. Just a shout out about all the support appreciation week. I really appreciate all of the support from the board for moving to CBT. It was a big effort, and I made a list of everyone I could think of, and I'm sorry if I left someone out, but it was a group like project management effort to have students transition to, we're talking about 2,000 kids, just about take assessments on computers. And so it really starts with the support from the board buying the Chromebooks several years ago. We needed that to make it work, being one-to-one. School community, teachers helping out with the new skills. Our IT department, Scott's team was awesome behind the scenes to make sure it all worked. Our technology integration team, just helping out, pushing in with teachers to help them and students with the skills. All the clerical support for the tickets to take the test, making little tickets, building principals, system principals, teacher leaders, and also the directors. So it was a group effort, and it went very well. It was a lot of preparation, and really went well last spring. I just wanted to make sure that we thanked people for all their work. Okay, so this snapshot shows you just a breakdown of where the performance levels fell for every assessment in ELA. And like I said, I'm going to go a little quickly because I know there's a lot of slides. So the first one's percentage. The next one will actually tell you the amount of students represented by each performance level, left to right, 1 to 4. We did the same thing with math. And this is a snapshot of last spring. And then the same thing with the students that are actually behind the numbers of each performance level. The next set of slides that you'll see in the presentation show a 3-year outlook. I kind of use COVID as like a starting point. So the last 3 years of having some assessment data. And just one piece of caution is you want to look at the current year that we have all the way on the right as kind of a reset, because they are the first tests that measured the first year of the next-gen standards, right? And also, you'll notice that participation has increased as a trend for the amount of students participating in the assessments, because you'll see on the slides coming forward, when you have 3-year lookout, you can see that it also represents the amount of students that took the actual exam for 3 through 8. So I did that for each one, so you have a snapshot. We have grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, 6, grade 7, grade 8. Okay, and so that'll give you a sense of those pieces from last spring. The next set of data that I wanted to present, if you remember last May, I did talk to the board about graduation rates. But I further broke it down for you. I know that you talked about wanting it broken down a little further, and so we have actual types of degrees as well as a male-female breakdown for each high school the last 3 years. And again, 22, 23 will be available later in the winter when we have the public release of the data. So I went year by year for a 3-year look. So I do have East. I color coordinate it for you, so green and blue if you have a color copy. We have East breakdown. That was 1920, 2021, 21, 22. Okay. Then we flip over to West, 1920, 2021, and 21-22. Okay. Another historical data set that I wanted to put together for you based on kind of the request and what the board wanted to look at is created this. I combined both schools here to show you district AP data to give you a sense of the number of students tested for our AP exams, as well as what percentage are scoring 3 or higher on those exams when they challenge them. And so we have 3 years trend data of that as well. If a number was small, like below 5, just thinking about privacy, I didn't put that on here, so you might see we might have had 1 or 2 students take a test that isn't on here, but I did capture the largest tests. So you'll have 3 years worth of that too as well with our different AP courses. So that's 1920. Then we have 2021. Used 5 kind of as a measuring stick. Okay. And like I said, in the winter time, I know it stinks that it's so delayed sometimes. The state will release more publicly, so we'll have some more data from 22-23. The reason why there's such a delay is because they do give us until the fall to report certain things, like August graduates, and then they wait till they collect that from all the districts, and then they will release that on the school report card website, and I'll be able to give another update with more 22-23 data later on in the year. But to switch gears, I know that Karma's going to present a little bit on some of the progress monitoring tools that we use. I don't know if you want the clicker and the mic. You're welcome.
Okay. So we're very excited to have iReady in place in the district. Just the capabilities that the program allows us as a district are really remarkable. And so just a few slides to give you kind of, get your finger on the pulse of where we were after our Diagnostic 1 assessment, K-5. On the left of your sheet, you have the national norm, and the 2018-19 fall diagnostic is really the last time that they had normed pre-pandemic. So those are being updated currently, and I am told within the next 6 months they will have more current national norms for us. But those are across the nation pre-pandemic norms. Then followed by the middle column, which is New York State. And for your information, the New York State data does not include any of the big city districts. So it does not include Rochester or Buffalo, Yonkers, et cetera. So it's solely the suburban districts. And then to the right is our district data. So you will see that, and very proudly, after Diagnostic 1, our district is equivalent to the national norm and then higher than the New York State norm. So based on overall benchmarks there. So how do our placements compare to the benchmarks? It's important to note that the students that you see represented in the bar graphs for grades 3, 4, and 5, those were the what we call COVID kids. So those were the kids that have come up through the ranks over the years as a result of being part of the pandemic instruction. And so you will also note that in kindergarten, across the nation and in New York and in our district, there are no red percentages, and that is solely because in kindergarten they cannot be 2 grade levels below because they're just starting. So that's why you will never see a red below grade level percentage, because iReady represents that with 2 grade levels or below. So how did we do as a district? Our kindergarten results were higher than the national and New York results. Our first grade were higher than the state, but slightly lower than the national. Second grade was the same, higher than the state performance, but a little bit lower than the national. Grade 3 results were below average than the national averages were, and we were equal to what other New York State districts had. Grade 4 was lower than the national, but higher than New York State, and also the same held true for grade 5. So when we take a look specifically at the domains, in regards to our mathematics. Again, 3 through 5, COVID kids. If you take a look at this, you see that the darker blue areas are equal to above national average. So you'll see that a lot of our students are performing in their domains above the national average, which is great news for us. Specifically in K1 and 2, they're showing a lot of growth. And then the lighter blue areas are below national average, and those are areas of focus for us for growth. Okay, moving on to reading performance review. So the same thing, you'll see our national norms, our New York State norms, and then our district performance. Again, just to reiterate that we are not including any of the big city data in the New York figure. And for West Seneca Central School District, we are higher than both the national and New York performance rates. So we were at 30%, while national and New York were equivalent to 26. So that's good. Again, if we take a look at how our district placements compared to the benchmarks, again, kindergarten was higher than the national and New York results. Same for first grade. Second grade was below the national but above New York. Third and fourth grade both were higher than national and New York State. And fifth grade was lower than national but higher than New York State performance. Looking at our domain levels in reading as compared to national, again, the darker blue are above national average, lighter blue below national average, areas for growth for us. But it appears again that we're doing very well, especially in grades K1 and 2, where we're showing mainly above average in each of those domains. Switching over to MAP in grades 6 through 8, math and ELA. If you take a look at East Middle, we have grade 6, 7, and 8 results. Just to summarize it for you, in grade 6, we had 191 students at East Middle participate. 30% of those students fell below average, where 70% were at or above average. In grade 7, we had 38% below average, 62 at or above. In grade 8, we had 180 students, with 40% of those students falling below average and 61% at or above average. Switching over to West Middle School for math, we had 230 students in grade 6 participate. 31% were below average, 69 at or above. In grade 7, 262 students participated, with 37% of those students below average, 63% at or above average. And in grade 8, we had 205 students with nearly 48% below average and 51% at or above average. So to summarize, grades 6 and 7 are within 1% on both sides of town, which was interesting. I thought that they would rate it the same. And then in grade 8, almost the same with an 8% difference, 40% below average at East Middle, 48 at West Middle. Moving on to ELA baseline data. At East Middle, we had in grade 6, 194 students participated. 39% of those students fell below average and 61% at or above. In grade 7, we had 192 students, with 38% of those students performing below average, 62% at or above. And in grade 8, 181 students, with 40% below average, 59% at or above. On the west side of town, we had in grade 6, 239 students participate, with 29% below average, 70% at or above. In grade 7, 266 students, with 27% below average and 73 at or above. And in grade 8, 254 students participated, with 29% of those students below average and 71% at or above. So in just a general, very brief comparison, West Middle had higher rates of students at or above average in all 3 grades relative to student population. So these are good conversations for us to have when we are getting together across the district at data days. Because when we often do that, we're able to collaborate and decipher what is one doing in their classroom that actually is working really well, and how can we learn from one another. So those are just bases for some of our conversations when we're looking at data as a district. Looking at high school math, MAP data, so at Algebra 1 baseline, pretty similar. We had at East Senior 157 students with 53% below average and 47% above, and sort of the reverse on the other side of town. At West Senior, we had 186 students participate, 46% below average and 54% at or above. For ELA 1, so these are all of our grade 9 students, on the east side of town, 193 students participated with 32% below average and 67% at or above. And then West Senior had 240 students, with 27% of those students below average and 73% at or above. ELA 2, these are our 10th grade students. At East Senior, 185 students, 32% below average, 68 at or above. And West Senior, even though they had 250 students, had the exact same percentages with 32 and then 68. So we have the capability now with iReady to have students really have an individualized plan with the MyPath based on this first diagnostic. We had PD on November 7th for, our first day to day for our teachers at each of the elementary buildings to learn how to utilize the program and look at those results to help drive some instruction. And then at the middle school level and high school levels that give ELA and algebra, we had discussions about the map and then now using the IXL, which helps to prescribe some individualized learning paths for the students as well. So this is just a baseline, and I think that once we have the second administration, which is in the winter, we'll have the ability to compare how did they start and where are they at that point of the school year. And so we'll be happy to update you with those results and show the growth that our kids are making. So that's it for me, and I'll turn it back over to Dr. Dalbo here.
Not yet.
Dr. Doctriana?
Not yet. I know there was just also a request for enrollment trends, just to kind of get a snapshot of the last few years of our enrollment of students with disabilities. And so that's what that last slide just reflects, so that you can get a sense out of about 6,000 students, where we're at in terms of that enrollment, okay? And we're available for questions, whether it's about progress monitoring data or some of the summative data that I've reported from the state. Willing to do our best with whatever questions you might have. I know it's a lot to digest.
Do any board members have questions?
Just a comment, I look forward to when they release the stuff in a few months.
Yeah, typically December, we anticipate larger chunks of data being released so that we can take some of that spring data and then you can compare it statewide, right? And so we have a snapshot into our West Seneca data, but then we'll have a bigger picture on how we did regionally and statewide. Correct.
Okay. Any other board members have questions or comments? Okay. Thank you then.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great job.
Yep.
Great job.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to the public comment portion of our agenda. I will wait for Nicole. Give me one second. Thank you. Just, okay. Okay, thank you. We are about to convene into the public comment period of our meeting. Although state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members. Having said that, please know that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a discussion. Accordingly, please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. This is because we take your concerns and questions seriously, and we want to have sufficient time to process and research issues. We will, however, respond to your questions and concerns by having the proper staff member get back to you. If you'd like to be contacted, please leave your information with the district clerk. The board will now entertain public comments for 30 minutes, with each speaker given 3 minutes. Actually, I'm not going to call anybody, so whenever you are ready, you can step up to the podium and state your name and address. Please be respectful in your comments and do not divulge any personal or confidential information. Are there any? I see 2 members signed up to speak. Would the community members like to come up? Sure. Please state your name and address, please.
I'm Matt Kaczewski, 57 Sunrise Terrace. First, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be able to say a few words today about redistricting. So my area, my son is kind of like, actually my family is, so if you know Sunshine Park, like that's sort of southern sort of kick out down there.
Yep.
And the way that the redistricting, when I watched the presentation, would work, so right now he's in Clinton Street, so he spent 3-4 years or whatever getting to know friends, like the whole socialization thing. He's finally come out of his shell. So then with this, my understanding, which again is based off the presentation, so may or may not be accurate, he would be like moved to West Seneca West with a small handful of children that he grew with in the neighborhood, and then kind of be forced to re-go through the whole socialization and like learning to like get new friends and that whole thing for a few years before then being moved back to West Seneca East Middle to then like go through that again. So my concern solely is just stability, and that's all I wanted to say. But thank you. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Thank you for your comments. Okay, is anybody else in the public interested in speaking to the board? Yes. Hello again, Mr. Banker.
Hello. Well, good evening. I'm Donald Banker, 336 Fawn Trail.
Sounds like we're neighbors.
Yeah. Teacher, coach, parent in the district. Here with some concerns over the redistricting as well. I definitely would like to start off by thanking the board for running the Redistricting Thought Exchange Survey. It was great to see students, parents getting involved in such a major decision in the district. That was excellent. Statistics there were great as well. 2,800 participants, 45% approximately from each side of town, so it seemed like it was pretty even on both sides of town. I would have loved to see some statistics on who was for and against combining the high schools. It fell short on that. We didn't see that. It was also nice to see in the weekly review or a news update that they hit and listed some of the major concerns of everybody, limiting academic and extracurricular opportunities, transportation issues, and then parents who should be voting on this plan the way the district decides, not just the board. So those were three big things I thought were great that were brought up. I saw in the weekly news update from 11/3 that this will not happen for the 23-24 school year, this year. I know Dr. Raby was saying in the very beginning, did you say next year as well, or that we wouldn't? That's good, definitely good news. Yeah, so I guess the only thing I'm
January 1st.
Okay.
Just January 1st.
Okay. I would love to see this be an open forum discussion as we move forward with it. If things have to happen, then I think the kids in the district, the parents, should all have some kind of say along with you. This is nice that you let us speak here, but back and forth would be, I think, the most effective. I hope that we get to vote as a district on whatever we decide, and whatever decisions are made, I just hope that we do not limit our students' opportunities. So just please keep that in mind. And slightly off topic, please come out and vote for the capital project on December 12th.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public who would like to address the board? Okay. Hi.
So,
Name and address, honey.
Callista Robillard, 471 Potters Road.
Okay.
So, I came up here to discuss the district's charge on Narcan and its use and availability. So, it's an anti-overdose drug used in an emergency to combat overdose of opioids. And as far as I know, the nurses just got training in how to use it last year. And while that's good, I think it could be extended. Erie County it has a program where you can actually sign up and they will give you free Narcan. And they have emergency boxes that you can install onto your walls next to EADs. And Narcan is really simple to use, and I believe that it would be really beneficial for the school district, and I know other school districts do it as well, to install those. And during health class, when we learn about how to use an EAD and how to do chest compressions, I think it'd be really good to just have a basic Narcan training along with that. So in case of emergencies, the school has Narcan on hand, it's very easily publicly located, and anyone knows how to use it. That's it.
Thank you, Callista. Thank you. Is there anybody else Okay, seeing none, then I will move on to the consent agenda. Okay, so the consent agenda, number 5 on our agenda this evening. That comprised number 6, number 7, number 8, and number 9. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, 5 through 9?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda 5 through 9.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Laura, thank you. There's no discussion on consent agenda items, so we will move on to voting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, passes 6-0. Right, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6. Oh, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Cervoni to acknowledge any appointments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to take a moment and recognize and thank everyone who is retiring from the district and anyone who was appointed tonight. I believe we have at least one person in the building. Emily Morahan. Emily, how you want to stand up for a minute? Emily was recently appointed just now for an E&L teacher at East Senior. I know she's joined at least by her father, who is well-renowned substitute in the district. Mr. Conforti, you can stand up too. I know you're a proud father. Emily, in talking to the people at East Senior, Emily is coming to us as a veteran E&L teacher, bringing a wealth of experience. And I know your dream was to work here in West Seneca. So,
Thank you very much.
congratulations. Is anyone else here with you you'd like to introduce?
My husband, Mike Morahan.
You know, Mike, thank you. Welcome to West Seneca.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome.
I did not have anyone else on my list that is present, but was anyone else here that was just recently appointed that'd like to be recognized? All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Cervoni.
We have a retirement here.
She was my middle school Spanish teacher.
Ms. Hopkins?
Sorry that she gets acknowledged.
Linda, you want to stand up? Thank you for your service in the district.
That's sweet.
This isn't effective until the end of the year, but how many years have you been here? Well, congratulations.
It's been a journey, it's been a ride, it's been the best career.
Thank you so much for all you've done for our students, and congratulations. And thanks for letting us know ahead of time. Thank you.
That's cute. Okay, we're moving to agenda item 10, the creation of a classified position. Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve 10.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Sarah seconds. Is there any discussion? No? Seeing none, we'll move on to voting. All in favor? Aye. All right, passes unanimously, 6-0. All right, new business, number 11. I'm hoping to get a motion to approve all of these together. So may I have a motion for agenda items 11A through 11F?
I'll make a motion to approve all of 11, A through F.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Trek, is there any discussion?
Just love seeing the trips.
Same. Okay, anything else? All right, then we'll move on to voting. All in favor? Aye. All right, passes unanimously. Okay. We will move on now to 13, Board of Ed discussion. I am going to turn it over again to Dr. Raby for our Redistricting Thought Exchange Results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait for our presentation. I'm good? Thank you. Okay, before I begin, I would just like to take a quick moment to thank all of the members of the Redistricting Committee, both past and present, throughout their processes, and the folks that facilitated. It was a lot of hard work that got us to this point, and there's still a lot of work yet to do, and hopefully they will continue to consider to volunteer for this hard work in this committee. So to start off, I wanted to take a little bit of a look back so folks can understand why we're at the place we're at right now. So the reasons for a review of the current attendance boundaries was to balance student enrollment to align with available physical space, to ensure similar class sizes within each school building, to provide for equitable educational programs across the district, to allow students to attend their neighborhood school, and to proportionate spaces for all learning opportunities. A little bit of a history lesson here. Going all the way back to July 1st, 2013, that's when East Elementary School was closed. Jump to 2014, Potters Road Elementary was closed. And in 16-17 school year, Winchester Elementary kindergarten students were placed at Northwood Elementary. And then in September of 2019, the Winchester Elementary kindergarten students moved back. And then in September of 2021, Winchester Elementary closed and students moved to Potter Roads Elementary School. Then from October 2022 to September of 23, Redistricting Committee met and developed various plans based on data and input. One of the considerations in the spring of 23 was that MAP C1 that was considered more heavily than the other MAP options. Also in the spring, it was considered of flipping the middle schools along with reopening East Elementary and Winchester Elementary schools. In June of 23, there was a grade level realignment considered, creating grades K through 3, grades 4 through 7, grades 8 through 9, and grades 10 through 12. Then in September, another option was considered, which was the one I think that created most of the conversation, recent conversation, was to create elementary capacity by removing 5th grade and then shift to MAP C1 to create more of a homeschool relationship, and then to realign current middle schools into grades 5 through 7, to create an upper middle grade school at the current East High School, 8 and 9, and then create one single high school at the current West Senior High School for grades 10 through 12. So now on to the thought exchange. It was mentioned during the public comments. We held a thought exchange, a very robust turnout for this particular survey. And the question was, what are your thoughts or questions about the Redistricting Committee's work thus far? We had 2,804 participants, 2,439 thoughts, 74,529 ratings. That's unheard of. We have a representative that we work with through Thought Exchange, and this is an international company, and they said this is probably one of the top 5 responses to a question that they've ever had in all the years that they've been utilizing this tool with school districts. So very impressive results. Of the participants, 81% did watch the wonderful video presentation that was done back in October. A little bit of breakdown of the participants. As again was mentioned, very robust results from our most important clients, our students, with 32%. Parents made up 50%. Community members, 2%. Non-instructional employees, 4%. Instructional, 11%. And then administration supervision, 1%. This I thought was very interesting. So as a participant, you get to identify what building best represents you. You can choose more than one, but we had 40% from our elementary, 45% from the east side, middle school and high school, and 45% from the west, middle school and high school. And what's interesting, so this was at close at 11 p.m. on that Friday night. I looked at it before I went home that afternoon, and the numbers were actually identical. Still 45%, but it was like 1,126 for each one, which was remarkable. And then it bumped up before it actually closed. And then no affiliation with schools was 2%. One of the Features of doing a thought exchange, it creates a word cloud based on the actual thoughts, pulls most common words, and you can see here busing was in the center with opportunities in sports being most prominent in that presentation. So then as we went through the thoughts and really looked at and drilled down into those thoughts that the participants shared, there were some themes or categories that came out. And the first one was about the impact on students. And some of the key points here is responses focus on the potential negative effects of redistricting, such as overcrowding, fewer opportunities for extracurricular activities, and the disruption of friendships. Participants expressed concern about the impact on students' mental health and the lack of consideration for student input. They also raised questions about the potential for busing issues. Overall, the participants were largely opposed to the idea of redistricting. There were three top thoughts that were shared under this particular theme. I think East and West should stay the same and separate, and this thought was actually ranked fifth out of almost the 2,500 thoughts shared. Next one was, this is a dramatic change. Why hasn't there been more communication and a longer implementation timeline? That was ranked number 8 out of all the thoughts. Combining East and West, 10 through 12, will limit students' ability to have athletic playing time or be on a team at all, and that was ranked 11th. You will see as we go through these themes, some of these thoughts will reappear, and again, it's just that some of the participants, whatever constituency that they were representing may have picked more than one thought, so that thought will show up again in some of the other themes. The next one was parent input. Some participants were concerned about the impact of redistricting on their children's friendships, extracurricular activities, and mental health. Others are worried about the financial implications of redistricting, such as increased taxes and wasted money. Many participants are also concerned about the lack of input from parents and students in the decision-making process. Top 3 thoughts from this particular theme. Has anyone thought how this will affect transportation and busing for our kids? That was ranked 53. I certainly hope that the board and committee look at these comments and take into consideration everyone's input. That was ranked 82, and we certainly are. Parents should vote on which plan the district goes with, not the board. That was ranked 48th. The third one was staff morale. Responses focused on the potential negative impacts of redistricting, such as, bless you, of overcrowding, fewer opportunities for students, and the potential for wasted money. Participants expressed concern about the impact of redistricting on staff morale, as it could lead to job losses and difficulty in teaching across multiple grade levels. And they also highlighted the importance of the need for dedicated teacher spaces and efficient use of funds. Top thoughts there is, this is such a dramatic change. Why hasn't there been more communication? As I mentioned, we're going to see some of the similar thoughts. Again, that was ranked number 8. There seems to be a great deal of upheaval for the staff and students. That was ranked 14th. I would like to see a more strategic plan on student impact, student opportunities, class size, spacing, staffing allocation, relocation, and transportation. That was ranked 88th. The next category is less opportunities. Responses focused on the potential negative impacts of redistricting, such as, again, overcrowding, fewer opportunities for students to participate in sports, clubs, and musicals. Participants expressed concern about the impact of their children's mental health, disruption of friendships, lack of consideration for student input. They also raised questions about the financial implications of redistricting, cost of busing, and the potential waste of money spent on new facilities. And again, there's that East and West should stay the same. Another concern is making sure middle school and high school kids have access to extracurricular activities. That was ranked 27. Chose the district so our kids weren't just a number like some of the schools around us. Merging West and East would make kids a number versus a name. That was ranked 10th. And then finally, taxpayer money. Responses focused on the potential negative impacts of redistricting, such as the waste of money on new facilities, use of taxpayer money, with some suggestions that upper administrative positions should be cut to free up funds. And overall, the participants seem to be against the idea of redistricting due to the potential negative impacts it could have on students and the use of taxpayer money. And the number 1 ranked thought that fell into this category was redistricting is one thing, changing the entire school structure is another. Why did we spend all the money in both high schools then? The next one was, would this save the district money? Sounds as if it would actually cost more and increase taxes. That was ranked 26th. A lot of money was spent on redoing the science rooms and music suite at East Senior, and that was ranked 38th. So then we took a look, a little bit more of a drill down for each constituency group. This one is the students. So this is the top 5 insights from the students' perspective: losing friends and changing teachers due to redistricting, overcrowding in classrooms, impact on activities, longer bus rides, and the loss of rivalry between East and West. For parents, concerns about overcrowding in classrooms, importance of maintaining school environment and extracurricular activities, desire to keep students close to home and minimize travel time, concerns about the impact on students' mental well-being, importance of considering students' opinions as they are directly impacted by the changes. Teachers, overcrowding in classrooms, potential job loss for teachers, impact on advisory coaches for activities, sports and clubs, longer bus rides for high school students, mental health and well-being of students, impact on teacher certifications and movement between grade levels, support staff, overcrowding in buildings, potential job loss, impact of redistricting on increased job responsibilities, longer bus routes, potential negative impact on students, and the effect of new grade level configuration. So then we were able to identify some areas of common ground that were peppered throughout the responses from the participants. And these were the 10 areas that were identified. Concern about overcrowding in classrooms, importance of maintaining a stable school environment for students, concern about the impact on extracurricular activities, the need for efficient use of district space, the importance of considering the mental well-being of students, concern about the impact on teacher certifications, the need for a thoughtful, long-term approach to addressing enrollment trends, student needs, and facility utilization, the importance of considering the impact on special education students and resources, the desire for more parent and student input in the process, and concern about the potential impact on school rivalries and friendships. Now on to the frequently asked questions. So as we mentioned back in September, one of our goals was to create a list of frequently asked questions with responses, and that is our natural next step. Now that we have all of the questions from the survey process, we can now respond to with factual information. So these are the questions. How will redistricting affect overcrowding in classrooms and teacher job security? Will redistricting negatively impact students' mental well-being and social connections? How will the proposed changes affect extracurricular activities? What is the time frame? How will changes impact busing and transportation? Will redistricting lead to a loss of school rivalries and traditions? How will the proposed changes affect special education students and resources? What will happen to ongoing construction projects? How could redistricting impact teacher certifications and movement between grade levels? Are there alternative solutions to address overcrowding and efficient use of funds? What considerations are being made for students who may have to move between buildings multiple times during their school career? How will the redistricting plan affect taxes and funding for the school district? And this one I'm actually going to answer. How are school district boundary lines drawn in New York State, and can they be changed? So this was very interesting, a little bit of research that I pulled together. So legislation was actually enacted in 1925 to establish centralized school districts. For the first time, incentives were provided for school district reorganization, money for transportation, new buildings, and operations. So back in the early 1800s, there were mostly common schools, which were predominantly elementary education-based schools, K through 8. And then later in the 1800s, union-free school districts were created. That doesn't mean they have unions like teacher unions. It means that they're schools that came together, the common schools came together to then provide for secondary education. And there were, prior to that initiative, common schools, if they wanted their students to receive a secondary education, they had to tuition their students out to a district that had secondary education, such as a union-free school. There still are, believe it or not, there still are some common schools in New York State. There are only a handful that actually have to tuition their students out to other school districts to receive that secondary education. And then in 1925, they began to centralize all of these union-free schools and common schools. And in 1946, that's when West Seneca Central School was organized. And if you look down to that lower right-hand side there, this is actually from a document that was published out in the 50s that lists the 3 union-free schools and 3 common schools in West Seneca and Orchard Park that merged to create West Seneca Central schools. And then in 1953, a portion of Cheektowaga, the common school in Cheektowaga, was actually annexed. In other words, it was taken over by then the West Seneca Central School District. That's why we have that portion of Cheektowaga in the central, West Seneca Central School. And then over on the left is the actual boundaries that were created by the merging of all of those schools. Didn't know you were getting a history lesson. And then the final question is there a need for more time and thought to be put into the redistricting plan with more parent and student involvement in the process? And I'll answer this question, yes, there is. So next steps. It is important to note that the Board of Education is still in the information gathering phase of this process. They have no plans to implement any redistricting measures for the 24-25 school year. Based on the results of the thought exchange, the Board of Education will need additional information and ideas to be reviewed and discussed before any redistricting plans are moved forward. A new comprehensive committee along with an outside facilitator should be initiated in the spring of 2024 and work until a viable redistricting plan is agreed upon. In the meantime, alternative measures such as scheduling, space utilization, and resource evaluation need to be studied and adjusted to meet the needs of our students. And these activities will not result in any redistricting measures. These will merely be intermittent steps prior to the implementation of a redistricting plan, perhaps for the 25-26 school year. Any questions from the board?
Okay, I'll open the floor to you. Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Thank you for all your work on this.
Yeah,
I appreciate you summarizing everything. I think it's good for the community to see kind of the work we've been doing. We've had a lot of conversations about this, but now it's been done in a more public way as far as the timeline goes.
Again, this was all the committee's work. I was just synthesizing it.
I think it's important that the public knows that we do need more information. But the survey showed us a great deal of information about how people feel. And we take that into consideration. I mean, we're all parents on this board mostly.
Just former student.
Or former student. So, you know, this affects all of us. So we are taking it really seriously. And because of that, you know, we need more time and we need more information. And when we get that information, we'll be sure that it's done in a public forum. Or public meeting, I should say.
Yeah. Anybody else? No?
Look forward to keep going.
Yep. Yeah, thank you again for all your work summarizing the thought exchange, and thank you to everybody who participated. I mean, your feedback was very, very helpful and very apparent what you preferred. So we thank you for that, and we are taking that into consideration.
And Dr. Raby, is this presentation going to be on our website?
It's on the board agenda website.
It's on the board
but
agenda? Okay.
We can put it on our redistricting tab.
Yep.
That might be good.
Okay. Anything else? Nope. All right. Do you mind if we take a 5-minute recess, everyone? Restroom break? Nothing happened. Yeah, everything's okay. I just wanted to take a little break, and Elena wants to take a picture of the board together, but I need to, yes.
Except that trustee Vander isn't here.
He is not.
I need all of
Okay, we'll save it for next time then. We're just going to take a 5-minute recess, and if you want to grab a cookie or a pastry, please help yourself. All right, we only have one thing left under board discussion, and then I'll just open it up if anyone else has anything to share. So I have, I've given you all an update on this Board of Ed Code of Conduct that I put together. Dr. Raby had shared his from Depew with me. I looked at Williamsville's, and Clarence has one. A lot of boards that I, admire and reference have them, and I just think it's a really good idea for us to set ground rules, because we talk about them quite a bit during our retreats, and then the year goes on and things happen and people reach out to us and we reach out about different things, and then just to kind of remind us of what our roles are and kind of keep us grounded, I think it's good to have. So it's attached to our agenda. I don't think we have a printout, but you can open it up if you have your laptop. All right, Ed, I'll share with you if you want to come over. I'll share my laptop with you, but it's on the agenda.
It's the one that was emailed out?
Mm-hmm, yep. I did email you
Yeah, I read it.
all the latest copies. So it just states our legal authority as a school board. Where do we get our legal authority from? It's from the state of New York. What is our exclusive authority? To hire and evaluate a superintendent, propose an annual budget to voters, and establish policy. And then that we should act with fairness, integrity, and then just it lists a bunch of, rules to sort of live by as a board member. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. If you're for it, against it, we would all sign it ideally, and it would be on our reorg, but we could do it mid-year because it's new. We could all get it. We could get it approved, right? Would we have to approve it?
Yeah,
Vote
I
on
would
it?
approve it. I
You
would,
would
yeah.
approve it? Okay. So are there any comments, questions, concerns? Is there anything you didn't like on it? Anything you have questions about?
We do have some sort of current code of conduct, right?
We do. So I did share it with Nicole, and she said we don't have anything exactly like this, but we do have our Board of Education operating procedures.
In your policy manual.
Yes. But something like this, we don't have exactly. No.
Would it be replacing or adding to?
Adding
Yeah.
to it.
Great.
Okay. How about you?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
We, it doesn't limit having my cell phone next to me.
So,
It makes sense. It's stuff we should be doing.
right, it is.
It just gives you a common understanding.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same page. Yep.
Anyone else? No?
I'm all in favor of it.
Okay.
I
wow.
mean, it's we have rules in our classrooms. We want our kids to follow rules and guidelines. It's good for us to have it in black and white, and we can always kind of bring our conversations back to
Right.
that too. And I think it's good because we're a rotating board, we're not here forever. So when new people come in and they might be a little bit confused because this is an overwhelming job,
Yep.
it's a good, guidepost.
I was just going to say that as somebody new coming in, it's nice because I know I've asked you guys a million
Right.
times, when can I say this or how
Yeah,
do I,
right.
How do
I
the
copy?
community knows what our responsibilities are too, and that's
Right.
helpful to them as well.
I think so too. That is a good thing. We can always refer to that.
Yep. And we have a chain of command too, which was put together, I believe, last year. So that's also something you can always reference when a community member reaches out to you or a staff member. That's something to always use to refer to. And I did attend one NISBA convention event. I don't even remember what the name of it was, but they just talked about the diminished trust in elected officials, and they talked about how you can build that trust. And I think this is a really nice way to do that and to, show our board that there were things in the past that maybe were done on this board and in other boards too that wasn't transparent, wasn't open, didn't follow the proper protocols. So I feel like we've all worked so hard that we want to maintain that moving forward. With a new superintendent, I just feel like it's really important for us to know our roles and how to work well with each other and the superintendent.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it is trickier now too because just like it's trickier for kids, right? Like, social media is everywhere. And sometimes people think that they can, communicate with us directly through social media or, different avenues. And this allows us, to be confident in not doing that and following the proper, chain of command and such, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was interesting because NYSIBA just put out an onboard their publication, this last one, and it actually talked about that specifically.
Right.
And I was like, oh, we've got that.
Right, because
Under
there's...
control.
Head of the group.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's coming, and I think that there are so many social media sites, and it's not the district's obligation to monitor all of them because there are so many, but we do have district-sanctioned pages that are monitored by the district, and those are important for, the superintendent and his or her designee to take care of. And I think just understanding that our role as a board member never stops. Unfortunately, we can say we are always viewed as a board member and as the supervisor to the superintendent, so you have to be very careful in what you say. So I think those are important things to keep in mind, and hopefully moving forward with this board, because, we won't all be on here forever, so. Right, I'm not pulling 32 years, no. Sorry, John. I'll be in the nursing home way before anybody, so. Yeah, so that's it. Anything else? Anyone else have anything?
I wouldn't mind, once we get that settled, maybe we reissue the actual other
Yes.
kind of rules we come across, because especially with a newer board, I know it gets confusing, like, do I email the president, do I email the, I know we were free-flowing for a lot of times where...
We were.
Just, hey, if you got a question, just email John.
Right.
But, I mean, I find myself feeling I'm out of the loop sometimes, because I find out there's, people, got a question. I do like the idea of, if I have a question for you, copy the rest of the board in, because they might have that question.
Right.
So maybe we can re-look at those at some point.
Right.
Because we don't have a whole lot going on. We can take a peek at them at some point. I think they don't need to be updated,
But I think we did update them, and we approved them at our reorg meeting. I just don't think we all have a new printed copy.
maybe we get a new printed copy then.
Yeah, the board
But when
operating
you
procedures. I think the new board members might have received the new copy, because we changed a bunch of things. We removed the hiring, we changed the hiring policy.
I have my little book.
Yes,
but I
it's
did not get
updated.
any- Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I just get new prints.
Yeah.
But when you emailed out the one that we're looking to approve today, and I read through it, it was a nice, most of it is stuff we should be doing. I think it's all stuff we should be doing, but it was a nice refresher.
Yes.
That's all.
Yep.
I really don't see anything added in that is something that we shouldn't currently be doing. Like, I should be reading my emails.
Right.
I should be attending meetings whenever possible.
Okay. All right, then. Then maybe we'll approve those at the next meeting. Unless anyone wants to make a motion to approve them now.
And I figured we'd give
Vince?
Vince a chance to chime in.
Okay, sure.
That's just my opinion.
Sure, that's fine with me.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, well then, that's it for my end of board discussion. Is there anything else anyone wanted to share? No?
I'll just share that, wrapping up the sports season, it's been, we've had so many really wonderful teams really go very far, and it's been really fun to watch as a parent, and watch all of these kids be successful, and East and West Side. It's been fun to watch.
Yep. Anything else? Okay. Then, unless anyone wants to make a motion to go into executive, we have no call for executive this evening, so. Nope. Okay. At this time, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Correct. There's no voting, so the motion is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.